Hello guys, it's a warm welcome back to the channel. This is Alpha Omega Daily. You know something, this subject's been on my mind for a long time, and it's something that kind of bugs me in a way, because Thais place such a huge importance on this, whereas we in the West place a huge importance on exactly the opposite. And basically, it's a very simple thing. Thais love white skin, and they cannot abide dark skin. So much so that if you've got dark skin in Thailand, it can affect your job prospects. So basically, dark skin in Thailand is frowned upon. So much so that it can and probably will, if you're a Thai person that is, or even a foreigner, affect your job prospects. I mean, I won't go into detail. Well, I will go into detail, but I'm not going to mention names. I never do. Just to give you an example, this is true. A friend of mine qualified as an English teacher. He did a course here in Bangkok, and because he was not Thai, but his father was coloured and his mother was British. He was born and reared in the United Kingdom. He never lived anywhere else, and because his skin was darker, he found it almost impossible to get a job as a teacher in a school here in Bangkok, based on the fact that his skin was darker. Another example would be, I used to take my son for walks when he was a baby in the buggy, and I put the hood up over him during the day when I brought him out for a walk. And the sun can be fairly intense here, obviously. You're in the tropics. But I used to get, I'll almost say heckled, but I was bombarded, let's say, with comments as to cover the child, cover the child, cover the child, he will get dark, he will get dark. And I would say the darker the better, just to stir it up, because I can't abide that thing whereby the darker your skin is, the less likely you are to be successful here. And you might confuse it with racism, but it's not anything to do with racism. It's purely and simply, it comes from the fact that if you've got dark skin, it will infer or imply, not infer, I should say, imply that you are of low standard of education, that you have to work outdoors, i.e. on the farm, let's say, and that's why your skin is dark. Whereby if your skin is fair, you've had the benefit of a higher level of education and you work indoors in a, say, air-conditioned artificial environment. So lighter skin gives a better impression, or a fairer, pardon the pun, impression to those who would be your would-be employers, let's say. But that's the long and the short of it. And if you want to know more about this, there's lots of advertisements on Thai TV, and they're on YouTube, and they're listed as racist ads. Now, I would call a spade, that basically I don't think they're racist. I don't think the Thais are racist at all. They don't view it as we would, not we, as certain people in the West would view the argument of dark skin, white skin. There's no argument, but you know what I mean. There was a history, and still is a history, and still is it's ongoing racism existing in the West, and you don't need me to tell you that. Well, here we would confuse it with being racist, but it's nothing to do with racism, as far as I can see. All it is that they see a dark-skinned person, it's practical from their point of view. A dark-skinned person is someone that didn't make good of themselves, i.e. they were working in a field or in a farm, and their skin got dark as a result, and they didn't have a good education. And the lighter-skinned person is completely the opposite. And when I said at the start there, but we're the opposite, we're completely the opposite. We would view a darker skinned person as somebody who is more successful, because if you're from the Northern Hemisphere, well, not the Northern Hemisphere, but anything from about 40 degrees north upwards, which includes the most part of the European Union, let's say, you wouldn't have the opportunity to have a tan all year round. So in order to get a tan, you'd have to fly or travel south, and in order to do that, you'd have to have money. So therefore, people in Western Europe or Northern Europe who have a tan are deemed to be successful. So it's actually the opposite, and you don't call that racism. So there you go. So in defense of Thailand, I would say their version of, well, Well, in defence of Thailand, I would say that their preference for white skin has nothing to do with race. It's more to do with practicality, and whereby I don't stand for it and I can't abide it. I really can't. I don't think that, again, the simple reaction to this, you know, the colour of your skin shouldn't have any bearing on anything, you know, but here it does, but it's simply to do with the fact that you may not, just on first impressions, you may not have been able to avail of a high level of education, and therefore you wouldn't necessarily be suitable for a job. And if an employer was to employ someone of dark skin, it might give the customer, the would-be customer, the wrong impression of the company, you see. Now, I am not in favour of racism. I am not saying anything that is derogatory about someone of colour. All I'm saying that is the reason the Thais do it. I mean, after all, you know, if you want to talk about racism, I'm Irish, and we were the butt of many jokes in the past. We were called many racist terms, and it's water off a duck's back to me. It really is. So, you know, at the end of the day, I'm giving it to you straight. In terms of what I can see, based on what I can see, the idea of white skin in Thailand, which is something I can't abide, the preference for white skin, I should say, is something I can't abide, is nothing to do with racism. It's more to do with economics. That's basically what it is. So there you go, guys. I hope you found this video interesting. I hope you found it informative. And if you haven't done so already, please click that subscribe button, click the like button, click the share button, do all those wonderful things, and I'll bring you back another wonderful video very soon. Thanks for joining me.